Under Don Salvatore Leone, the Leone family reaches its peak between 1992 and 1997, and then again in 1998 with the help of Tony Cipriani, with strongholds in Portland, connections across the city, and total dominance of key criminal industries. What's going on, guys? You are now officially kicking it with RJ. Kick up your feet, kick off some shoes, get something to eat, get something to drink, and enjoy. Today, we are going to be talking about the Leone family. Where are they? What's their status? Who's running them? And everything that will be hopefully answered for you guys by the end of this video. And before I really get into it, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps with the algorithm. And anyways, let's get back into it. Like any traditional mafia, the Leones operated with a strict hierarchy. Their leader, Salvatore Leone, he was a traditionalist, he was super paranoid, but he was old school. He didn't need a consigliere because Salvatore often acted on his own instincts. He didn't need someone second guessing him. He didn't need someone telling him what he thought. He had Tony for that. Tony was his capo, Tony Cipriani. He was a trusted enforcer, and he was a huge power player, huge key player in 1998. He pretty much single-handedly ended the three-way gang war between the Forellis and the Sindacos, put the Sindacos completely out of business, sent them back to Los Venturas or wherever the hell they went, put the Forellis pretty much off the map, turning them into the Forelli brothers. He did a lot for the Leone family. He pretty much single-handedly brought that family up. He was super loyal, but he was often frustrated by Salvatore's management. And then there was Luigi Gordarelli. He was a nightlife operator. He controlled the nightclubs and the prostitution aspects of the Leone family. He took care of a lot of things. He was a very, very good soldier, or capo. And then there was the soldier and associates. Now, Joe Leone, I think he's more of an associate. He was the son of Salvatore. He kind of kept to himself. He ran an auto shop, and he wasn't really interested in the whole mafia family. He, had stuff to do with it. He was dealing with the Forellis, doing his own jobs, and if things, if the shit hit the fan, he'd be at Salvatore's in the meetings, doing what he had to do. And then there was Mickey Hamfist. He was just a low-level thug. You point, he pulled the trigger. That's him. And then there was Claude. He was a temporary associate who was brought in by 8 Ball. He pretty much did what you need to do. He was Mickey Hamfist, but he was effective. You wanted him to do something, Claude would get it done and then some. But he was the hired muscle who then was kind of forced to turn against Salvatore after Salvatore tried to kill him. Now, the Leone family was operated in mainly Portland. They had areas in Portland that was theirs. They had St. Mark's, that was their home turf. That's where Salvatore lived. That's their main mansion. And then they were often in the area of Trenton. That was where Joey's garage was. It was a center for car theft and the chop shop business. And then there's a red light district ran by mainly Luigi. There were clubs, brothels, and protection rackets ran by him. The Leones made money from gambling, extortion, prostitution, car crime, club protection, and even drugs. Salvatore didn't really try to dive into drugs. He believed they weakened the family. They attracted too much heat. But money's money. But just kind of keep away from it. But with this came conflict and decline. Despite their control, the Leone family is under siege from all sides. They faced many, many threats throughout their reign. There was one from the Triads. They expanded into Chinatown. Their war with the Leones over territory and protection rackets. They wanted their rackets. They wanted them. And they weren't going to stop. They pretty much did everything they could to stop the Leones. But the Leones, they were super organized, somewhat, and they pretty much beat them. They took out their warehouse, and they took care of them. There was really nothing by the end. They were on the streets, but when it came to that, they pretty much dealt some heavy blows under the Triads. And then there was the Diablos. The Diablos, they were an aggressive street gang. They launched attacks in Leone areas and businesses, such as like the prostitution part. They definitely kind of wheeled their way in, but they weren't really trying to move on their territory as far as I know. Yes, they took Hepburn Heights, but Tony kind of predicted that in 1998, so that was going to happen no matter what. And then there's the Yakuza. They weren't really full-on villains. They weren't really full-on enemies of the Leones. They dealt with them here and there. There is some bad blood between them, obviously from Tony's activities from 1998 when he killed Kazuki Kaisen, the then leader of the Yakuza. But other than that, there really wasn't much other than, them sending Claude over to kill Salvatore because they wanted to make sure he wasn't a double agent and prove his loyalty to them. and to prove he severed his ties with the mafia. And then there was the Colombian cartel, the true rising power of Liberty City at that time. They were rich, they were violent, and they were super well connected. They pushed drugs and they had ties to the dangerous Catalina. You don't want to cross her, I'll tell you that much. And over time, Salvatore's paranoia grew. He no longer trusted even his most loyal men. Now, I think this started back in 1992 when Carl Johnson did a bunch of jobs for him, gained his trust, and then betrayed him by robbing his casino. I think that was the true start of Salvatore's descent into complete paranoia, complete madness, and it just pretty much created a ricochet effect. And then, top it all off, Maria stupidly told Salvatore that her and Claude were an item, leading Salvatore to probably think he's gonna sleep with my woman, he'll probably betray me. So he rigged the car bomb to kill Claude, and obviously Claude, he was warned, he went to the Yakuzas, they took him in, and he killed Salvatore. And one fatal move, Salvatore is then betrayed and assassinated by Claude under orders from the Yakuza. The Don dies at the entrance of his own club, and with him, the potential family foundation collapses. Now, with the Don dead, Joey could take control, Tony might take control, but without Salvatore's political and economic connections, his reach might be limited. Now, who took over after Salvatore's death? There's a couple people that could have taken over. One person that most likely took over, in my opinion, is Tony Cipriani. I think he likely took over because he was pretty much right up there. He was Salvatore's most trusted capo. Like I said earlier in the video, he single-handedly took care of the entire gang war in 1998. He took care of all of that, completely prevented the Sicilians from taking over. He ran things while Salvatore was in prison or in jail. He took care of everything. He was Salvatore's man. If anyone's going to take over the family, it'd be him. And Tony has a level head. He's not paranoid constantly like Salvatore was. So if anything, the family might do well under Tony. And then there was Joey Leone. Now, Joey Leone, I don't think he'd take over unless it's like a Sopranos type thing, like with a little Carmine in the show during season 5. He's present, but other than that, he doesn't seem to want direct mafia leadership. He's more interested in cars and girls than rackets or strategy. That's my opinion. And then there's Luigi. I don't think Luigi really has the backing of the family, just because Luigi seems like he was there for a couple years at that point. He wasn't there for such a long time. And so I think definitely Tony Cipriani definitely took over the family, became the Don. I think that he was the one who sent the mafia over to look for Claude. I think he was definitely the one. If you don't remember, there was a mission towards the middle of the game where it said, like in the PC version for some reason, that the FBI, but it was more the mafia. The mafia was looking for Claude. Tony probably sent the guys over to look for him, to kill him. Obviously, Claude survived this.
My police source indicates that the Mafia are watching our interests around the city in a bid to track you down. We cannot continue our operations until they are dealt with. Take out these spying fools and end this vendetta once and for all.
Well, I think Tony definitely took over. Now, people could say that the Leones are in a worse spot and there's no way they can come back. I mean, with Salvatore's death, they most likely lost their political protection with Miles O'Donovan. Their union influence and rackets potentially could have collapsed. I mean, at that time they had gang wars, no central leadership yet. I mean, Tony was a pretty level-headed, but he had a pretty big problem on his hands because, I mean, he took over at a pretty bad time. They were pretty fragmented and they might have been ousted, but there are some good points against that. I mean, when you think about it, they pretty much won the war between the triads. The triads lost their main protection racket and the warehouse that they ran. Now, that was blown up and they really didn't have anything. Unless they had something else running for them, they had nothing. So they could have fallen. And then there was the Diablos. Like I said, they were strong, but they're more of a street gang rather than an organized outfit like the Leones. So if anything, unless the Leones want to muscle in their territory, I think the Leones, Tony being a level-headed, smart dude, I think Tony was smart enough to kind of say, okay, you stay there, we'll stay here. Keep the peace. I think Tony was pretty capable of doing that. And then there's the Colombian cartel. They're pretty much total at this point. Catalina's dead. Miguel's pretty much dead. They lost their main racket. Their drug spanked. Their manufacturing ship was sunk. Their, what do you call them? Their espresso or drug dealing stands were pretty much destroyed. They have nothing really left coming in for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they left the state or if they left the country after that because of just sheer embarrassment. And then there's the Yakuza. There really isn't any leaders for the Yakuza. I mean, when you think about it, Kenji's dead because of Claude. Asuka's dead because of Catalina. Kazuki died back in 1998. Unless there's a secret brother or a niece or a nephew, whatever, they're pretty much done. There's not much there. And even that, they don't really have much to do with the Leones by the middle of the game after, Claude takes care of Salvatore. So there's really no reason to go after them. And then there's obviously like the Hoods and the Yardies. This is something where they're too small of a gang to really make huge problems. And like I said, I feel like Tony being very smart, I think he definitely left things alone over there, or at least tried to make some deals with them. Like, okay, you stay there, you do your thing, we'll do our thing. Don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. That can only work for so long, but who knows? But like I said, they're probably the strongest group in the city. I mean, yes, they lost their leader, but they didn't lose any key businesses. They still had money coming in from their protection rackets and whatever else they were running. So I think that the Leones definitely were in a decent spot by the end of the game. And like I said, yes, losing Salvatore sucked and it wasn't great. I think that might have in a way benefited them because Salvatore was such a loose cannon and he thought everyone was out to get him. And I think that Tony, unless he went down the same path, I think Tony definitely had a more level head, like I said, than Salvatore did. And I think Tony, if he kind of followed in Salvatore's tracks, which I mean, Tony was his right-hand man in 98 when he pretty much got the mayor of Liberty City on his side, I think that Tony kind of learned from him and took a lot of the aspects he learned from Salvatore into when he eventually ran the family. So I think that definitely Tony took the family into a right direction, hopefully. Now, obviously, if you're going to go the Sopranos route, technology and all that stuff, who knows what the Mafia looks like. They look decent in GTA 4. I know the universe berries and all, but who knows? Who knows what they look like after? So yeah, so I think the Leones are definitely in a decent position with Tony at the helm. So yeah, anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed making it. I really do enjoy diving into lore of old GTA games and just games in general. It's really fun to kind of research and stuff, and I really hope to do more of these. I have a whole list, but if you guys have any ideas or anything in the comments, just let me know, and I will definitely add that to my list, and I'll do that video eventually. So anyways guys, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, helps with the algorithm, helps me out a little bit more too. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care now. Bye.